Oops, I've kind of made a little bit of a boo-boo here. Howdy, Bart here, and welcome. Okay, so for those of you who remember the project that I was doing with the bot spawning and all this kind of stuff, let me actually go into it and show you what I'm talking about here. I never did do the menu, so this is my default Steam template. And host a game, yes, this is the version that's on itch.io, and you start off, you're on this map, yay, much rejoicing. You can hit the V key to change into a shooting mode with a really ugly model of a gun there. You get little hit markers, you right click, you get a scope mode, it's cool. It's multiplayer replicated, works lovely, everything's great. You can come over here and you can sit down, and that's all replicated, everything's nice. Two opposing buildings with a little meeting space in between, and when the meeting gets dull, you actually have an emote system here. So if you hit the Q key, you can do an emote, and that's chuckle. You hit R key again, and you can select that, and then close it. You can yawn. At R, you can flip somebody off. You can wave. You can point. Yes, you. Yeah, you can do push-ups. And these are all working lovely. Everything replicated nicely. And you can also even do sit-ups. And yes, okay, it's kind of boring if there's nothing else to do. You got a gun mode, and PvP wasn't enabled at this point, and yeah, cool. But you can hit the tab key and bring up this. Remove bots turns off spawning of any additional bots. So if you turn on one bot and then close the window, one bot will spawn. You go into your shooting mode, and hey, I got your ass. They die. They play a little sound. And as soon as he goes away, he will respawn. And there you go. But if you hit tab and you set that to 3 bots and close the window, 2 additional bots will spawn. And again, you kill these guys. Then you'll get 3 more bots that will spawn. It will keep it topped off to where there's always going to be 3. So I just killed one guy here, and I got these other 2 chasing me. 1 more will spawn, and there we go. You could also up that to 5 bots or 10 bots, and if you want to play to kill them all off, you can just go back to remove bots, and then you can forgot to disable the their collisions, so they start flying off in the air whenever they step over each other. So as you're killing them off, they no longer respawn. So this was good. I liked it. It was a fun little project, and I was having fun developing more and more and more of this, and I seem to have made a slight boo-boo. I was cleaning up projects that I wasn't using, and yeah, yeah, I was trying to free up some hard drive space, and I kind of deleted the project files, and I didn't have them backed up. So, and you can actually teleport, go right here, and teleport you to the center, and then you can come over here and have a seat. I had additional maps already most of the way done, and was getting ready to set up a map changer to where you could set up conditions or whatever else. I had all kind of things planned for this project. Oh, pardon the sniffles. But it's gone. It's completely dead. And I like this. I was having fun with this one. And I liked it. And it's gone. But, I mean, menu and exit game. So I got to start from scratch on this because I like this because it has all the extra things of sitting down and other stuff going on. So I get to start from scratch. It sucks. But I have to look at it instead of a negative way of, you're such an idiot, why did you delete that, and, that kind of stuff. But you know what? I look at it as an excuse to refine it and make it better. So, if you guys are proud owners of my simple multiplayer Steam template, and specifically the 420 edition, which I will update it to 421, I'm just slow to change because I don't like new patches from Unreal Engine 4. Coffee, the elixir of gods. So here's how we're going to proceed. I don't have a name for this project yet, so I just need to go ahead and make up one. First thing we want to do is I want to go ahead and right click on my SMST_420, which is the Steam simple multiplayer Steam template. And I'm going to select clone. And I'm going to give it a name. And I'm going to call this, I don't know. I really have no idea of what to call this because I have to restart, and I don't want to call it the same thing because I didn't like the way I had the project set up before name-wise. So I just realized when I was helping somebody with something a little earlier today that I had deleted that project. So I'm kind of saddened by it, but enthusiastic because I can build it from the ground up and make improvements as I go. So for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up switching over to Cindy Studios assets with this project. But at first, I'm going to go ahead and start building some functionality into the project and getting some of the things set up. I was going to use one particular name, but I know if somebody else has already used that name, which would have been Polyverse. And I don't really want to use that name because, even though he's a bit of a schmucko, you know who you are. I still liked you. I pushed you hard, and you broke on every occasion, hoping to try to get you to man up a little bit. So I'm going to quickly look through some of the dev logs and my build logs, and I've got files that I keep whenever I come up with a concept for my game. I go through and I write it down in a text file so I'll remember it, and I can always go back to it again, and I keep it in a folder that I don't go to very often, and I just use it for just that, So let me actually find that folder, go in here, and core, it's probably what I'm going to call this, the core, but I'm going to go with the title that I was initially planning, and it's going to be called Rebirth. And I'm going to click on Browse to make sure I'm in my Unreal Projects folder. I was saving things to my F drive and was having some problems with that. So now I'm going to hit Create and then hit Continue and give it a moment here. The reason why I'm using the simple multiplayer Steam template is because it's going to be multiplayer. So now I just wait for a few moments, and as soon as I see it pop up, then I will go ahead and do one more thing. Alright, we should be good now. So we see we've got the project here. I want to navigate to my documents, Unreal Projects, and go into the folder for my game, which conveniently doesn't show up here. Idiot Windows. So here in this folder, the first thing I want to do is I want to go over here and delete the saved. And if there was an intermediate folder, I would delete that as well. Yes, it should not be there. Why is it still showing? Ugh. Windows, you so stupid. Yes, I'm using Windows 7. So let's close that back out. Make sure that I'm good to go in here. Documents, My Documents is under Libraries if you're Windows 7. Unreal Projects and Rebirth. Yes, it no longer shows the saved folder. So we are good to go. Like I said, if it had a... You definitely want to make sure the plugins folder is there, or else the multiplayer portion is not going to work. So just get rid of that saved folder, and now you can actually open the project. And once I've got that project open, I'm not going to start chucking assets at it just yet. I'm going to go ahead and start setting up some of the basic functionality here. So now that we're in, let it finish discovering its assets. And where the hell is everybody? This is my Wednesday night stream. If I were to hit play in standalone right now, with my simple multiplayer Steam template, if you run it in standalone mode, then the network stuff is going to work. You can see that in the upper right hand corner, you've got your Steam username and avatar that will pop up right there. And you'll see the Access Steam community thing will pop up here. And you can choose single player, and it will go into a basic lobby map. You hit escape, you can go back to resume game or main menu. And if you go to multiplayer, if you want to find a game, you click on find. If nothing pops up in a second or two, then hit the find lobby button. At some point in this project, I'm going to rebuild this entire menu, at least cosmetically. But if nothing shows up, then you can host a game. It says, please enter server name. You can put in whatever you want for a server name. And then click on the make button, and there you go. It goes right into your lobby map. So all you have is just the main menu map and the lobby map in this project. So you hit escape, go back to main menu, and exit. We'll add in a settings menu in here. And that's probably something I could do right now, since that's fresh in my head from earlier. I'm going to go to my main menu widget, and I'm going to close that, and I'm going to cuss piece of shit Unreal Engine 4. Remember my damn default settings. Default. It is not default. Default for me is main window. Main window. I set it as default, and it doesn't do shit. Loading and saving. Uncheck enable auto saving. There's some other things that I normally do too, but I'm just going to stick with those two. So now when I open up a window, look, it goes all the way up here, and I can actually work on it. So I've got single player, multiplayer. This right here is on a, if you look, host and find button. These don't show up until you actually click on the multiplayer. So what I'm going to want to do is I want to insert something in between, and I don't have anything here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and copy this button, and I am going to click on the main nav box, and I am going to paste. It's going to put it here, but I don't want it there. I'm going to drag it all the way up here to underneath this. And I'm going to change that to say settings. And I will change the name of the button to say settings button. So what I want to do is, I don't have a specific window size that I really care about for this, because all these things here, this is actually another vertical box. It should be in find server box, which is I believe it's actually another widget, and that's actually another widget as well. So these aren't actually going to be visible at first, so I can actually uncheck that, and now I can see that I've got a plain screen here. And if I hit compose and save, I'm ready to start doing my settings So what I need to do is I want to create a vertical, which is in panel. And let's see here. Let's do center 300 by 300. And we'll set the position to -150 by -150, so it's perfectly centered up. It's kind of cheesy, but it'll get by for now. But I want to make sure that I do this. It is hidden by default. And this box is going to be checked as a variable as well. And we'll call this the settings box. Alright, so when we click on settings, we want this to show up. And what we'll have to do is some flip-flopping back and forth. So whenever I click on multiplayer, this goes away. And that kind of stuff. You'll see whenever I get in here. Like I said, I will come back in later and actually completely revamp this whole system. But for now, this is just going to get me going. Go in here, I'm going to drop a button and text on that button. Oh, come on, scroll down, you shithead. Text. Yeah. And let's go ahead and add in. Yes, I know I could do padding, but I like doing spacers. It's just me. I'm weird. Spacer, we'll set that to 20. And now I can grab this and this. Copy. Paste. So this will be our 1080p, 720p, and then, I think I'll just go ahead and do just the button. And this spacer right here will be fill, so that it just pushes it all the way down, so that if I add something else in, it'll auto change. So let's start putting in here. Button 1 is going to be 1080p button. Change the text accordingly. 1920 by 1080. And this is going to be the 720p. Yeah, I still hate that I got rid of that project by accident. Just wasn't paying attention. 1280 by 720. And Ass Clown. Alright, this is going to be return button. And back to main for now. So, looking at all this stuff here, unclicked host button, it's gonna do that, and I just need to go ahead and compost and save. We want to find the settings button and unclicked. Alright, so unclicked. We've got the flip-flop set in here on these. So what happens when you hit the find button, it's turning off visibility of these two. So hidden, visible, and hidden. So it hides itself. So I kind of want to copy the same basic functionality With that, it was flip flop. And I want to get both of these, create server box, find server box, and settings box. So I'm going to need all three of them. So we got this one, create server box, and find server box. So we are going to, when we hit the key the first time, we want to make sure that these two guys are, well, let's just start off with set visibility, and I'm going to need 3 of these. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but you know what? This is what I'm doing. So I'm going to set this to hidden, and I want to set this one to hidden, and I want to set this one to visible, and then connect this to here, and then crank out another guy here. So we hit this right here. We'll take our settings box and we'll make it hidden. And I'm just going to run this in new Pi window. Just got an idea. So settings. So if I click it again, it's going to go away. If I'm on my multiplayer and I click settings, multiplayer, host. Okay, so now on host and find, I need to make sure that I tell this one to go away. So that's just a matter of going over here. This is find server. Just need to connect that into here. And hidden and settings box. Connect that to there. Do the same thing up here to the host button. Like I said, probably better ways of doing this, but meh. It's simple and it works. Settings box. And multiplayer nav button. Let's move you over a little bit, and I'm going to make sure that I got one in here as well. So on click for multiplayer navigation. It's making sure that those two are visible. Let's check the functionality and see if I need that. So I've pulled out my settings menu and everything's good. I haven't done the commands for those yet. Do multiplayer, and then when I click on multiplayer, it shows these two, but I think probably should go ahead and, because if I click it again, it makes it go away. If I click on host, it does go away, but let's make sure that it on that button. Let's go ahead and add the settings box, and I'll just go ahead and set it in here. Just to be on the safe side. I'm sure I don't need it on this, on the flip-flop, but you know what? It's not going to hurt anything. So now if we go in here and we hit multiplayer and then we hit settings, it doesn't matter that, well, I kind of want to clean it up so where these become hidden again, but I need to probably just break down and set these as custom events. So if I click on host, it does go away. But if my settings is up, yeah, I'll have to come back and I'll refine this stuff. For right now, it's functional. So let's actually make those two buttons, all three buttons in there work. So I will go ahead and, because I know it's going to throw it down over here. Let's go ahead and comment this one, which was settings box. Then we want the 1080 button unclicked, 720 unclicked, return unclicked. We really probably don't even need that at all, but whatever. So, in fact, all we really need to do on the on return is make sure we set the settings box to hidden. 720p and 1080p. We drag off from here and execute console command. And it was hell, it was just r dot set res 1920 by 1080 r dot set res 1280 by 720. Let's make sure that we add a player controller to this, just because you kind of want to make sure that you're setting it for a specific player. So if I change my resolution, I don't want it affecting your resolution. Let's see here. View to there. Yes, because it didn't put it on the little line right there. I had to move everything. Compost and save, and let's hit play. Hit settings. Edit again. It goes away. Hit it. Change it to 720. Change it to 1920. 720. Back to main menu. It just makes that go away. So host. Settings. Yeah, it's a little bit wonky, but it'll work for now. All right. Main menu is sorted for right now. Now, the problem's going to come into is I've got to rebuild the entire game. I've got to build the shooting system again. I've got to do all the replication, the sit down again. Not going to add the same stuff that I've been using. I'm actually going to go ahead and use. I've got the so many assets. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Modular characters is kind of fun to work with, but I'm not going to use it right now. Pedestrians. It is a huge 38.9 megabytes. So I'm going to add a project, and this project was called Rebirth. Add to project. The reason why I want to add this one in now is so that I can make sure that I bind it to the correct skeleton. And so whenever I go to do my retargeting later, I've just got one skeleton. As with anything where it comes with UE4 mannequin stuff, it comes with a demo character. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go ahead and retarget every one of these animations. And there's 166 animations that comes in this asset pack. Yeah, well worth the 25 bucks. Damn sure worth the 25 bucks. So I'm going to come in here to my character folder, and I'm going to create a new folder called animations, and I'm going to create a new folder called Manny, because it's the UE4 mannequin, because I'm going to end up retargeting it again to the Cindy Studios assets. So we're going to call this one a new folder called pedestrians. Then all I'm going to do is go to my default UE4 mannequin, go to the mesh, select humanoid rig and save. And then I want to go to the same thing on their demo character, go to the mesh, skeleton, it's already humanoid rig, save, and now I can retarget these animations. Still annoys me that I got rid of all my stuff. So I'm going to start with this guy, and I'm going to shift left click on this guy, and I'm going to retarget. So this might take a minute. It just bums me out that I freaking did that and deleted my project. Retarget, and UE4 mannequin skeleton, change the location, assets, no, character, animations, Manny, pedestrians, okay. So if it's still on sale and you want some just normal pedestrian stuff like sitting down in a chair, sitting in a bar, sit down, sitting idle, smoking a cigarette, leaning on a wall, writing, you know, if you're sprinting, there's a winded animation. So if you're sprinting and you run out of stamina, you can do the winded animation. You know, set it up as a montage where it's like, okay, now I'm out of juice kind of thing. So yeah, they're all retargeted now. Absolutely fantastic pack for basic generic animations that you wouldn't normally think of that do and will come in handy. It's like the winded animation. He's like, okay, I gotta get my breath. And then he goes back to normal again. So really cool stuff. Like thumbs up, leaning on the wall. I've showed all this before, but now that I've actually retargeted the animations, I don't need anything else from this pedestrian pack right now. I've got what I need out of it, so I can delete it. And that's going to free up, you know, a little bit of hard drive space. Not that it really matters, 38 megabytes, but if I don't need it, I don't need it. So instead of my normal of putting in for building the first part of starter content, I'm not going to do it. I don't want it. I don't need that extra 700 megabytes of stuff. So I can build my sit down thing. I can build my other stuff and not worry about anything other than what I want in here. So that cleans up a little bit of my space here. At some point I'll end up getting rid of the mannequin folder even, because, well, I'll probably keep it just because if I need to bring in some other animations, then I have a base animation to work with, or a base skeleton. So I do kind of need to keep the mannequin folder from the UE4 mannequin, but that one I didn't need to have duplicates of the same animations. So let's go to my lobby map, because at some point whenever I build the first map, this map will actually go away. And the whole principle of my, and I can go back to selected viewport in here, the sit down animation is when you walk over to a chair, you hit the button, it turns your character around and then sits you into the chair. So let's start from the ground up. I'm just going to come in here and throw in a BSP geometry. I don't even care about having material on it. And we'll set it to 50 by 50 by 50. And we'll set this bastard on the ground. So now we go to here to play. It's probably too small, but you know, whatever. It's a visible representation of where my chair is going to be. And I can start building the widget blueprint, and I can start building the actual stuff for that. So, blueprints. I'm going to need my player base. I'm going to end up having to redo all of this. What I'm going to do is, with this, I'm just going to create some more space on it. And this is my view change. I still will leave it as this for right now until I come up with a better method for changing things over. But what I want to do is set these as custom events instead of just running it directly off the flip-flop. So I'll do custom, and this will be FPS view. And I don't remember if I needed that replicated or not. There is one that I had to replicate because it did not track the movement of the character correctly, but I will burn that bridge as I come to it. So another custom event here. This will be TPS view. That will connect to there. So this will go back to your third person view and everything that needs to happen whenever you're in that. So that will cover this end of it. And then for now I can just move these over a little bit and then run on my V key. I can run FPS view, and whenever I press it again, TPS view. So it's still doing exactly the same thing for now, but I'm going to be able to call these events later on in the blueprint so that I can do different things like add a crosshair or scope mode or sniper scope mode or whatever. It's just something I'm going to end up needing to do later anyway, so I'll just go ahead and do that. For now, leave it. Alright. The beginning of the sitting situation. Keyboard E. So you enter the chair. And I'm going to end up coming back and doing all the replication on this. I'm just going to get it functional, and then I'll come back and break it apart and replicate it. So whenever I press E, I need to have a variable of at chair. And compost and save. I want to get at chair, and I want to run a branch. Branch, thank you. So at this point, I'm asking, am I at the chair? Now, at the same time, I need to go back into my assets folder and create a gadgets folder. And I want to use a blueprint actor. Chair. Let's see. Let's just call this G for gadget underscore chair. I don't need a chair at all. So the only thing that I need in here is a box collision, and I need a. Actually, let's delete that for right now. I'm going to add a component in of a cube. And this is actually not even going to be visible in game. But I want to go ahead and make this a visible placement item along with the box collision. So add a component of box collision. I'm going to call this entry. I'm actually going to, normally I will resize the cube to fit that, or the collision to match the cube, but I want to do it the other way around. 0.75, no, let's try 0.6, 0.6. And it doesn't quite fill it up. Alright, that's better. Now grab my entry cube, put it there. Let's actually make this not visible for right now. I want my box collision to be on the ground. $30 looks about right. Gonna turn back visibility on it so I can see. And then I'm going to add one more component here, which is going to be an arrow. And I'm going to call that arrow. I don't care. It wakes. So the arrow itself is my directional component. I'm going to end up moving this a couple times to get it just right. So let's get everything here, delete it, go to my cube for my entry, on component begin overlap and end overlap, cast to player underscore base. And what we're going to do here is just set this to set at chair to true and this one to be false. So all we really need is that for now. We're going to have to come back in here and at chair, let's give it a category of chair. We need another variable which is going to be chair transform. There is going to be a lot more going on with replication on this. So like I said, I will come back and I'll fully replicate it here off camera. Alright, if I'm at the chair, then now let's compile and save, change that to a transform. And now we want to get chair transform. Let's break it, because I like breaking stuff. And let's set actor location and rotation. Location and rotation. We don't care about scale. And let's go ahead and do a self, just because, you know, put a selfie in there. Now we want to get reference to the arrow. And get world transform. And from here we want to set chair transform and our player to this. Okay, so now we press E, we verify that we're at the chair, And if we are, we set our location and rotation to that transform. So let's grab our chair. See, we've got our arrow, and it's facing the wrong direction, so let's rotate them around. It won't matter which way you place this. It's going to always turn your character and face them in the right direction to sit down. And I know I'm going to have to move this arrow, but let's just see what we got here. Alright, that's not bad. Let's lower, no, you lower the arrow down, and let's move it back. Compile and save. So it's just trial and error. What the hell? Let's move this shit away from that wall for right now. Alright, so what's happening is it's probably inside the box. Alright, so here's part of the issue also is these frickin' boxes have their own collision. And for some reason, the character likes to be able to walk on it. Alright, let's actually delete that shit. And let's go back in here. We're going to uncheck hide in game. So we want to make sure that our feet are still on the ground. So we can step on this. That should be good. So let's go ahead and set up an animation system for it. Animation, Manny. Activities. I don't know. So we want to find a sit down animation. So let's actually just search for it. Sit. Sit transition. Sit idle. Sit down. That's not bad. Ooh. That's something to think about for later on if we're not at a chair and we want to sit down. Well, let's try this one for now. He's shifting his feet over, so it's not exactly the one that I want. And he's throwing his arms up. Put his arm around somebody. I'm sure we could come up with something like that later. Nope, we'll just go with sit down one. Alright, so let's actually put this into the animation blueprint. Oh, get rid of that. Third person animation blueprint. First thing I want to do is, because I plan on adding montages in, let's put in a default, just because I know I'm going to need it later, and there. Go into the state machine. I don't need you. Go into the event graph. I hate the way they do this shit. Yes, we get it. So yes, my OCDs, I will have to sit here and I should say waste time to reorganize the regular animation blueprint so that it looks neater. Because I can't stand it. I really... Okay, this is better. No, go to right there. Alright, now that that's done, what I want to do here is cast to my player. And at some point I'm going to sequence this off because I'm going to have other things going in the same one. But, shite. Player base. We're at chair. We've got a chair transform. We're going to create a new variable. Sit in chair. Change that back to a boolean. And we need to put it back in our chair. And we're going to set that to true. I'll probably redo this about 15 times to get it where I like it. You would be amazed how much and how often I get triggered by this one simple thing of sitting in a damn chair. And the fact that I have to come back in here and do this again. Sit in chair. No, shithead. Sit in chair. Chair. I'm going to put a question mark on the end of it. So right now, all I care about is just sitting in the damn chair. Just doing the sit-down animation. I will do more functionality to it, so I can do sit idle and things like that. So while we're idle run, let's come over here and add a state. Sit in chair. Animation that we want was sit down 1. Could probably run this in a montage as well, but I like having it in the frickin' animation blueprint for some reason. And then from that, we want to go to sitting in chair. And then we want to get a transition to go back to standing up again. So sitting in chair. We'll look at sitting idle. There's so many of them. That's good enough for now. Sit idle 1. Right there. There's like 16 sit idles sitting in a chair idle. And shit. shit, we can't do this. Because we're going to end up having a stand up. Oh, shit. Chair. Wow. 166 animations. There's got to be one of them to get up out of the damn chair. Well, just let it break for right now. I don't care. I've got an animation that I can use. So to get to this transition, we want to sit in chair. It's one step at a time, going back and fixing all these screw ups. By deleting the whole frickin' project like an idiot. Oh, that still pisses me off. Oh, shit, excuse me. I'll blame it on Skippy. He hasn't been around for a couple days. Alright, so we got our transition to go from that to sitting down and going to the idle animation system. So let's see how bad it's screwed up right now. Well, it's there. I don't have the stand up in it right now, but it appears he sits down and goes sideways. There's got to be another sit down that doesn't have him shifting his ass over. And I think that's it. I mean, seriously. That's that one. I might have to go back to my other animation that I had before. And that's sitting on the ground. I don't need that or that. That's sitting on a bar stool at a table. Well, shit, and fall back in it. 166 animations, and the one that I need is not in here. Standing up from a damn chair. I mean, the sit transitions aren't going to do it. We've already looked at those. I pray that I could just find this one. Lay down animations. I mean, come on, seriously. Well, I'll just have to dig in here and see what I can come up with. Well, I guess we're screwed. I'll have to bring those other animations in. Just because I don't like those. So, damn, excuse me. Okay, well, I'll bring those in. I didn't want to, but, well. Now, I'll find the right version of it. I got 3 versions of the same damn thing. Shit. And let's see here. UE4 mannequin skeleton. Import those in, and there we go. There's our stand-up. This sitting idle, and stand to sit. And I think these are the unedited versions. Got to go in and edit the root animation of one of them. So sit in chair, and that would be stand to sit. Okay, and then might as well change that one as well. I mean, it was fine, but that's sitting idle. And then need to create a new state. Sit to stand from chair. And this one is going to be sit in chair, not Boolean. How the hell is everybody tonight? Stand to sit. And last but not least, drag this to here and time remaining, stand to sit. When you're done with this, you float your ass to here. And that. Compost and save. And let's go back to event graph. Just for now, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put a branch in so I can have a yes or no version of. And didn't need to delete that, but so if it's true, it's true. If it's, yeah, this is stupid, but you know what? I know this works. So if it's true, it's true. If it's not, it's not. And then on my player, I just want to set that to false. So in theory now, stand on the white cube, I sit down, and get chair transform, do that, that's lovely. That's fine for now. Sitting chair is true. We do stand to sit. And then we go into the sitting idle. Why the hell did it not work correctly? Go to sit in chair. If sit in chair is true. Oh, would you fucking please? Seriously. Thank you. Then sit in chair is true. If it's not, then it's false. I've rewritten this thing probably 20 frickin' times. You'd think that I would get it right on the first try. Okay, so Do that. Sit in chair is true. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Because it's just setting that variable. Holy shit. And fall back in it. It sets that variable, and that variable stays true, so therefore it can't stop doing that animation. Well, the other thing we've got to do is we need to set movement mode to none, so our player will stop frickin' moving around. Because we don't want them to be able to do the animation and then just start wiggling the shit around. And we'll set it back to walking here. So in theory for right now, and I'll fix the other part, I wasted an hour just getting back to this part. Come over here and what in the hell? Why is somebody sending me Discord messages while I'm streaming? Shits and grins. We're going to raise it to 50. Why is it teleporting my ass to the damn ground? When it wasn't doing that before. You damn sure don't do sweep in this. Oh, shit, and fall back in it. Well, let's try setting the movement thing right there. Because you got to have it. Alright, so set movement mode to none. I don't care about reversing it. Just want to get stuck into the frickin' chair. Really? No, really? Why in the hell would it do that? I mean, really, why would it do that? It has never done that shit before. All you're doing is setting movement mode. It doesn't matter that you're setting transforms or whatever else. And it's, you know, I get ready to just absolutely frickin' scream and walk away for a little bit, because things that work, they just work. You can't use like deactivate character movement because it doesn't replicate properly. It just doesn't. And when you're actually doing the transform here, this should not affect anything on the transform. So if I just do that, everything works great. But as soon as I try to change the freaking movement mode, it screws everything up. So it's setting sit in chair to false. Set sit in chair to true. And it's supposed to just do its thing. And it's supposed to automatically transition, unless I just forgot to put in... No. That's right. Sit down 1. Ah, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Because I'm not doing that animation there anymore. I'm using that one. It was waiting for that other animation to end. So that's fine on the animation, but that still doesn't explain why it's doing that weird teleport shit. And what the fuck was that all about? Oh. Seriously. And sit, play sitting idle. Yes. So this one. Not sitting in chair, that means you can start doing this animation, and at this point you're waiting for it to finish that animation. You know, that's fine. Stand to sit. Sit in chair is true, then you perform this animation here. And then, at that point, you auto-transfer from stand to sit. Time remaining ratio, stand to sit, 0, 1. And then you perform the sit idle. From sit idle, if you're to get out of the sitting idle, the only way you can do that is if you are not sitting in a chair. And if you're not sitting in a chair, you can only get that from casting to the player and asking, is sit in chair false? But sit in chair is true. It hasn't gone false yet because I haven't hit that. Yes. Okay. Absolute retard. Because I always put a flip-flop in, and I didn't in this case. So as soon as I let go of the frickin' key, it's telling it it's not sitting down anymore. And if I hit the E key again, why did you do that? It's set sitting down to true. It is in a sit down true state. When I hit it again, it's setting that variable as sit in chair to false. There you go. Sit in chair, false. Right? So if sit in chair is false, then sit in chair here is unchecked. And if that is the case, if you're not sitting in a chair, you can go from this to doing this animation. Holy shit, why is this fighting me? Stand to sit. God, you're just being stupid. This is why you don't do Unreal Engine 4 when you're pissed off. And again, this is why I don't try to get too carried away until I make sure that everything is functionally correct. Do one step at a time. There, you can sit down. Now when I hit the E key again, he stands up. I just have to fix that. Sit to stand. The reason why he is teleporting is his root. It are in the wrong place. So I want to move his root back to the right place. So that will hopefully take care of the shuffle. Yay, and there was much rejoicing. So now you come over, you sit down, and now I need to stop movement, and then I'm good, because you don't want to be able to do this. You may be able to want to do this, but I don't want to do this. I don't want my players doing the sit-down animation and frickin' sliding all over the damn place. But as soon as I did this before, I get a reference to my character movement and set movement mode to none. And again, character movement, set movement mode, change that to walking, compose, and save. Are you going to teleport and do weird shit this time? Why? Why in the fuck would you do that? Well, let's adjust this and see if maybe that will fix the problem. I'm just going to get it way out of proportion, see if that's a deal. And it appears that it is. So I'm going to sit down. I want to move the arrow forward because I don't want it overlapping. Let's try that. Alright, we're good to go on this. I will break it apart and I will reconfigure it to actually do the thing. And let's actually go ahead and get rid of the cube. And of course I can't see where the chair is now. That was the downside to it. I'll set a cube in here. New. So I have a visual representation of where my chair is. Close enough. And there we go. His feet are off the ground, and now he teleports. Yay. So, again, adjust the arrow location down a hair and forward a hair. Doing it by 10. I should have been doing it by 5. But I don't want to be affected by whatever object I'm sitting on. Oh no. Yeah. Let's do it by 5. I don't want my feet going through the ground, but I don't want my feet above ground. And there we go. And there was much rejoicing. Alright, I'm freaking done with this shit. Sitting down works. I can actually slide it back now. And just screw with the position of, so that the collision box, whenever I have it set down, is the where that line of the collision box right here should be where your legs touch. So with a slight gap in front, when we come over here and sit down, it sets us in just the right location. And there is much to rejoice about, except for when we stand up. Sitting down is perfectly fine. Standing up, we're affected by the collisions of the object we're sitting on. So I guess for now, if I just move forward 5 and see if that helps. I just want to avoid the collisions. I want to avoid this stupid... It's a damn capsule collision is what it is. So, in theory, I could probably go ahead and do... while sitting down, let's grab the capsule component. And let's actually do... collision... Set collision enabled to no collision while you're sitting down. And then we'll do a delay here. For right now, let's just do 1 second. And let's grab you, plug you in, and re-enable collisions. You know what? For shits and grins, for right now, I'm going to make it 2 seconds. I want to make sure the animation is completed. So that right now, when we go over here and sit down, we turn off our capsule collision, and we don't have to worry about things. We get back up. Capsule collision is still being a problem. Shit, and fall back in it. Oh, shit, I want to do that on sit down. You would think that sitting in a damn chair wouldn't be so complicated. But I'm also going to grab a reference to my mesh and disable the collisions there as well. So we go to stand up, it's going to disable all of our collisions. So hopefully, sit down, we're fine. We stand up, we're not fine. God damn, you suck. That made no influence whatsoever. I'm going to say, build your functionality first, and then, yeah, that didn't help either. God, you suck. Once you get your functionality done of each part, then you can go back and properly replicate everything. So this is fine. It's fine. Why the hell would you do that? Seriously. Well, I will figure it out. Thank you guys for stopping by, and we will see you later.